Imagine entering a place where daylight has never reached. No window, no sky, no clear path back, only a small flame trembling in your hand. The air is cold. The ceiling is low. Every footstep returns as an echo. Then the wall seems to move. A horse rises from the stone. A bison follows it. Farther ahead, lions stare out of the darkness. Their bodies are made from charcoal, red earth, and the natural curves of the cave. They have been waiting there for thousands of years. But why? Why would people carry lamps, pigment, tools, and fuel underground? Why crawl through narrow passages? Why climb difficult walls? Why spend precious time creating animals in places where almost no one would casually see them? And why animals? Not villages, not meals, not ordinary family life. Animals. Again and again, horses, bison, deer, mammoths, rhinoceroses, bears, lions. What were ancient people trying to say? For a long time, the answer is simple. They hunted animals, so they painted animals to help the hunt. Perhaps drawing a bison gave them power over a real bison. Perhaps marking it with a weapon meant the hunt would succeed. This idea became known as hunting magic. It is easy to understand, but the evidence refuses to stay that simple. At many sites, the animals painted most often were not always the animals eaten most often. Sometimes the bones near human camps tell one story. The cave walls tell another. People may have eaten many reindeer, for example, while giving more attention in art to horses, bison, or dangerous predators. Some painted creatures were difficult to hunt. Some were dangerous even to approach. Cave lions, woolly rhinoceroses, bears. These were not ordinary menuchoses, and many images do not show a hunt at all. There may be no hunter, no weapon, no chase, only the animal, calm, powerful, complete. Human figures are surprisingly rare in many famous painted caves. Detailed landscapes are rare too. We do not usually see the full river, the complete forest, or the camp outside. It is as if the artists removed almost everything and kept only what mattered most. The animal body, its shape, its movement, its presence. So the obvious answer may contain part of the truth, but probably not all of it. And that is the first important idea. There may never have been one reason for cave art. The paintings were made across enormous distances, across different landscapes, across many thousands of years. The people who painted in Ice Age Europe were not one single group with one single belief. And Europe was not the only place where early humans created images on rock. In Sulawesi, Indonesia, researchers have dated ancient rock art to astonishing ages. A narrative scene with human-like figures and an animal was created more than 50,000 years ago. More recent research reported hand stencils at least 67,800 years old. These discoveries remind us that image making was not a late European invention. It was part of a much older and wider human story. Different people may have painted for different reasons. One image may have taught. Another may have remembered. Another may have marked a ritual. Another may have told a story. And one picture may have done several of those things at once. To understand why animals mattered so much, we must forget the modern world for a moment. Today, many of us meet animals through screens. We see them in documentaries, in books, in logos, in zoos. For ancient hunter-gatherers, animals were not separate from daily life. Animals shaped daily life. They were food, clothing, tools, danger, competition, weather signs, seasonal clocks, moving maps. A herd could mean opportunity. A predator could mean death. A migration could tell people when to move. A hoofprint could reveal what passed by hours earlier. A broken branch could show direction. Fresh dung could tell distance. Hair caught on bark could identify a species. The behavior of birds could suggest that something large was nearby. The silence of birds could do the same. Ancient people were not simply looking at animals. They were reading them, and reading animals meant reading the landscape. Imagine following tracks across snow. The marks are incomplete. The animal is gone. You see only a few signs, a print, a scrape, a bent plant. From those small clues, your mind must rebuild an invisible event. What animal made this? How large was it? Was it walking or running? Was it alone? Was it injured? How long ago did it pass? Which way did it go? This is already a kind of picture making. The real animal is absent, but the mind creates it from signs. Cave art may have used the same mental power in reverse. Instead of seeing a track and imagining an animal, a person imagined an animal and created a track for the eye. A line on stone became a horse. A curve became a belly. A crack became a back. A shadow became a face. That transformation is easy to overlook because modern people live inside a world of images. But it is extraordinary. A real animal moves. It disappears. It dies. A drawn animal stays. It can be seen after the moment has passed. It can be shown to someone who was not there. It can be revisited, pointed at, discussed, corrected, remembered. The image moves knowledge outside the body. A memory inside one person is fragile. That person can forget. That person can die. But a mark on a wall can remain. The mark does not explain itself. It still needs people. It needs a voice, a gesture, a story. But it gives the story a stable center. Imagine a child looking at the painted outline of a bison. An older person points to the shoulders. Heavy here, strong here. Do not approach from this side. Wash the head. Notice the legs. Perhaps the image helped teach details of anatomy or behavior. We cannot prove that every animal picture was a lesson, but teaching is one possible use, and the picture would not need to be a complete textbook. It could simply begin a conversation. Modern classrooms work the same way. A teacher draws one shape on a board. The drawing alone is incomplete. Its power comes from the explanation around it. The cave image may also have been surrounded by words we can no longer hear. Stories about a dangerous encounter, instructions about a season, a warning about a predator, a memory of a successful hunt, a rule about who could approach certain animals, or a tale about how the world began. This leads to another possibility. The animals may not have represented only animals. Humans still use animals as symbols. The real animal has one body. The symbolic animal can carry many ideas. Ancient people may also have connected species with qualities, groups, places, ancestors, seasons, or story. A bison could be meat, but it could also be strength. A horse could be prey, but it could also represent movement. A lion could be danger, but it could also become a figure in a sacred story. These meanings do not have to cancel one another. Humans regularly give one thing several meanings at once. A wedding ring is metal. It is also a promise. A flag is cloth. It is also a group. Money is paper or numbers. It is also shared trust. An animal image could be both practical and symbolic, both observed and imagined, both ordinary and sacred. The modern desire for one clean answer may be the wrong tool for the problem, but the choice of location gives us another clue. Some prehistoric images were made in open rock shelters. Some were placed near entrances. Others were created deep inside cave systems. That difference matters. A deep cave is not an ordinary room. Entering it changes the body. The temperature changes. Daylight disappears. Distance becomes difficult to judge. Sound behaves strangely. A whisper travels. A footstep returns. The flame creates a small island of visibility. Everything outside that island vanishes. The ordinary world is gone. Now imagine the painting under moving light. A modern photograph freezes the cave wall. A lamp in a museum makes the whole image evenly visible. But ancient viewers did not see it that way. Their light flickered. It moved with the hand. Only part of the animal appeared at one time. The head emerged, then the shoulders, then the legs disappeared into darkness. Lines drawn in slightly different positions may have created an impression of motion. Natural bumps in the wall could become muscles. A stone edge could become a spine. The wall was not just a surface. It was part of the animal. Some artists deliberately used the shape of the rock to give bodies volume and movement. The cave itself helped complete the picture. This means the art may have been an experience, not simply an object. The journey mattered. The darkness mattered. The sound mattered. The moving light mattered. The people present mattered. Perhaps someone spoke while the image appeared. Perhaps others sang. Perhaps they remained silent. Perhaps the painting was revealed only at a certain moment. We do not know, but we should not imagine cave art as a modern gallery with quiet visitors walking past evenly lit pictures. The original setting was active, physical, uncertain, and probably memorable. That opens the door to ritual. Ritual is often misunderstood. It does not simply mean superstition. A ritual is a repeated action that gives special meaning to a moment. Modern people still use rituals. They tell everyone that one moment is different from ordinary time. It focuses attention. It creates shared emotion. It teaches people how to behave together. A cave journey could have done the same. Entering darkness as a group may have increased fear, wonder, or concentration. Seeing a powerful animal appear in firelight may have made a story feel real. Repeating that experience could strengthen the memory of the group. Some researchers have suggested that certain cave images were connected to altered states, spiritual journeys, or specialists sometimes described as shamans. This remains debated. The word can be used too easily, and beliefs from one culture should not simply be copied onto people who lived thousands of years earlier. Still, the broader idea is possible. Some images may have been connected to experiences that people understood as contact with another realm. The cave may have felt like a boundary. Not the ordinary surface world. Not fully another world. A place between. Animals could have been guides, ancestors, powers, dangers, or beings with their own intentions. For many modern people, an animal is a biological object, a species in a category. But not every society divides the world that way. Some communities understand animals as social beings, relatives, or powerful owners of places. We cannot assume Paleolithic people believed exactly this. But we also should not assume they saw animals as simple resources. Their relationship with animals may have been morally and emotionally complex. They depended on animals. They feared animals. They killed animals. They studied animals. They may have admired them. They may have believed animals possessed powers humans lack. Speed, strength, smell, night vision, the ability to survive cold, the ability to move across landscapes without maps. Tainting an animal may have been a way to think about those powers, a way to negotiate the relationship, a way to express respect, or a way to place danger inside a controlled space. There is also a social question. Who made the images? Popular imagination often pictured one adult male hunter painting alone. But archaeology does not give us such a simple portrait. Hand stencils show different hand sizes. Research at some sites suggests that children were present and may have participated in making marks. Finger traces also show that caves were not necessarily used only by solitary specialists. Different kinds of people may have taken part at different places and times. Some panels developed across generations. That changes the question. Instead of asking, what did the artist mean? We may need to ask, what did the community do here? The wall may not have been one person's message. It may have been a long conversation. One person adds a line. Years later, another adds an animal. The image gathers memory. Its meaning changes without disappearing. Cave walls may also have accumulated significance. The oldest image was not merely old. It may have become evidence that earlier people had stood there. The wall connected the living with the absent. That makes cave art a form of social memory. And social memory is powerful. The group survives not only through food, it also survives through information. Where water can be found, when herds move, which paths are dangerous, who belongs, what happened before, what should happen next. But human memory has limits. Stories change, details disappear, people die, groups separate. Images can help stabilize important ideas. Not perfectly, not forever, but enough to give memory a place. A painted chamber can act like a memory device. A horse reminds someone of one story. The sign reminds someone of another. The position of the figures helps organize the sequence. The raft through the cave may guide the order. The wall becomes a structure for remembering. We still use this technique. A photograph brings back a day. A diagram brings back an explanation. A symbol brings back a shared story. The image holds less information than the full memory, but it unlocks the memory in the mind. This may be one reason simple marks can be so powerful. They do not need to contain everything. They only need to open the right door. Now consider the mystery of the missing world. Why are full landscapes uncommon? Why not paint every tree, river, cloud, and mountain? Perhaps because the cave was not meant to copy ordinary vision. The people already knew the landscape. They lived inside it. The purpose may not have been to reproduce everything. The purpose may have been to select. Selection creates meaning. A camera records what stands in front of it. A symbol records what a person chooses. The absence of detail may be as important as the detail that remains. One animal alone can become larger than a scene. It can become an idea. And some caves contain repeated signs alongside animals, dots, lines, rectangles, branches, hand shapes, marks that do not clearly represent objects. Researchers have tried to classify them and search for patterns. Some signs may have carried information. Some may have marked groups, places, events, or actions. But no confirmed dictionary exists. We cannot translate them like written sentences. Writing records language in a formal system. Cave signs may have worked differently. They may have depended heavily on local knowledge. A mark that seems simple to us could have opened a complete story for someone who knew the code. Or it may have been a gesture whose meaning came from making it, not merely viewing it. This is another trap in the modern question. We ask what the picture means as if meaning must sit inside the image, but meaning can also live in an action. Placing a hand on the wall, blowing pigment around it, leaving the outline behind. The result is an image, but the event also says something. I was here. This is my hand. This body touched this place. Or perhaps something more specific that we cannot recover. A hand stencil is not a portrait, but it is intensely personal. The person is gone. The edge of the hand remains. It is both presence and absence. That is why these images can feel strangely modern. We recognize the desire to leave a trace. Children do it. Travelers do it. Artists do it. People write names on desks and walls. Not because the mark feeds them, because the mark connects a brief life to a place that may last longer. That cave art was probably more than personal expression. Creating some large or difficult images required preparation. Pigments had to be found, processed, tarried. Light had to be maintained. Some surfaces had to be reached. Knowledge of the cave had to be shared. That means cooperation, and cooperation changes the meaning again. An image made by a group can strengthen the group that makes it. People coordinate their movements. They share materials. They watch a skilled person work. They learn a style. They repeat familiar forms. The act creates a common experience. The result becomes proof of that experience. We made this. We know this place. We tell this story. This animal matters to us. Shared images can create boundaries. They can also create belonging. The objects change across cultures. The mental mechanism can remain similar. A visible mark helps people share an invisible idea, and shared ideas allow large groups to coordinate. This does not mean a cave painting was an ancient advertisement or national flag. The societies were completely different, but the ability beneath them is deeply human. We attach common meaning to a sign. Then we act as if that meaning is real. That may be the biggest answer hidden inside the cave. The artists were not only drawing animals, they were building a shared mental world. A horse on a wall is not a horse. Everyone knows this. They cannot run. They cannot breathe. They cannot feed anyone. That people can gather around it, talk about it, fear it, remember through it, teach through it, perform around it. The image creates a common focus for minds. One person sees a line. Another person sees the same line. Both recognize an absent animal. Then both may connect that animal to the same story. That is more than art in the modern sense. It is shared imagination. Shared imagination is one of humanity's most powerful abilities. A single person can imagine many things, but when several people imagine the same thing, they can coordinate around it. They can make plans, preserve rules, build trust, tease identities, carry stories across generations. The cave image may have helped turn private thought into public culture, and culture changes survival. Humans are not the strongest animals. We are not the fastest. We do not have the best claws or the sharpest teeth. A person alone is vulnerable, but humans can collect knowledge. One generation discovers something. The next generation does not have to begin from zero. It can learn the old method, improve it, combine it with another idea, pass it forward again. This is cumulative culture. Tools become better, rots become better known, stories become richer, rules become more complex. Knowledge grows beyond the memory of any one person. Images may have helped that process, not because a painting contains every answer, but because it can hold attention across time. It gives teaching a target. It gives memory an anchor. It gives a group a shared object. The animal on the wall may have been part lesson, part symbol, part ritual, part story, and part memory. Its exact mixture may have changed from cave to cave, from chamber to chamber, from generation to generation. This uncertainty is not a failure. It is the honest result of studying people who left no written explanation. We should resist two opposite mistakes. The first mistake is to say the images mean nothing more than decoration. Their placement, repetition, labor, and long history suggest that many mattered deeply. The second mistake is to claim that we have solved the code. We are not. There is no surviving artist's statement, no complete translation, no single theory explains every image. The safest conclusion is also the most interesting. Cave art was probably not one thing. It was a human technology of meaning, a way to make absent beings present, a way to make memory visible, a way to focus a group, a way to connect observation with imagination, a way to place knowledge outside one brain. And once humans learned to do that, the idea did not stay inside caves. It expanded. Marks could record ownership, patterns could show identity, writing could preserve language, apps could preserve space, screens could carry symbols across the planet. Our world is now covered in marks that make invisible systems visible. A red light stops strangers. A line on a map becomes a border. A number in a bank account becomes value. An icon tells us where to click. These systems work because people share meaning. The materials have changed. The wall became paper. Paper became screens. Firelight became electric light. But the basic act remains familiar. Create a visible sign. Connect it to an invisible idea. Teach others the connection. Repeat it until the group remembers. That is why cave animals still matter. They stand near the beginning of a world built from shared symbols, not necessarily the first symbols humans ever made, and not one straight path from cave wall to smartphone. Human history is more complicated than that, but the paintings reveal an ability that still shapes everything around us. The ability to see more than pigment, to see an animal in a line, a story in an animal, a rule in a story, a group inside a rule, a future inside a memory. So why did they paint animals on cave walls? Perhaps to prepare for hunts, perhaps to teach, perhaps to honor or negotiate with powerful beings, perhaps to enter a ritual world, perhaps to mark identity, perhaps to remember stories, perhaps to connect generations. Most likely, different people did it for different combinations of reasons. But beneath all those possibilities is one deeper act. They took something that moved through the outer world and placed it inside a shared inner world. They made the animal present when it was absent. They made private memory available to other minds. They turned stone into a meeting place between observation and imagination. The animal eventually disappeared. The people eventually disappeared. Their spoken words disappeared too. But the image remained. A horse still runs across a motionless wall. A line still washes from darkness. A hand still reaches toward us without moving. We cannot hear the original story, but we can recognize the invention. A wall became memory. Memory became culture, and culture allowed human minds to meet across time.